Facebook and law enforcement. NB. Does Facebook have a law enforcement response team? How do I create a law enforcement page on Facebook? Why is enforcement of law so important? Etc. Does Facebook inform law enforcement? Facebook said, based on the circumstances, it may voluntarily disclose information to law enforcement agencies if it has a good reason to believe that the matter involves imminent risk of serious physical injury or death. How do I report illegal activity on Facebook? Go to the content you want to report. Use the Find Support or Report link to report it to us. If you want to report something that goes against our community standards but you don't have an account or can't see the content, example, someone blocked you, you can ask a friend to help you. Can police track a deactivated Facebook account? No, the police can ask Facebook directly. They don't have to attempt to log into that account themselves. They have a screen cap of the username, date, time, and the particular conversation that happened. That's all they need. How do I report illegal activity on Facebook? Go to the content you want to report. Use the Find Support or Report link to report it to us. If you want to report something that goes against our community standards but you don't have an account or can't see the content, example, someone blocked you, you can ask a friend to help you. Can a Facebook account be traced back to an IP? Yes, police can track Facebook accounts. Police can track Facebook accounts by using the IP address of the computer that is currently logged into the account. This is how they will be able to find out who has been using the account and where they are located. Can a fake Facebook account be traced? Our social media investigators hear this question a lot: is it possible to trace online accounts? Unfortunately, the only real answer is, it depends. While we have successfully been able to trace many fake accounts, it is almost always an uphill battle. But, if it can be done, we can do it. How do you find out who is behind a Facebook page? Visit the About section of the Facebook page. Owners have the option of linking their own profile, or listing their names here when they set up a page. If you don't find the owner on the About page, you can try sending the business a private message requesting the information. How do I contact Facebook for legal reasons? If you call the Facebook headquarters 650-543-4800 and reach the switchboard, the first option is for customer support, press 1, and the second option is for Facebook law enforcement, press 2. Law enforcement comes ahead of business development, marketing, press, and employment verification in the list of options. How can you tell a fake profile? Below is a full list of signs that help you identify a fake account. 1. Using default profile picture or fake picture. 2. Misspelling. 3. None of the same friends or contacts. 4. Read the person's profile. 5. Is following more people than they have followers. 6. Substitution of characters. 7. Addition of extra space characters. What do you do when you catch a scammer? The Federal Trade Commission (FTC) is the main agency that collects scam reports. Report the scam to the FTC online, or by phone at 1-877-382-4357, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. ET. How do I report a scammer on Facebook? 1. Go to the profile of the impersonating account. 2. Tap below the cover photo and select Find Support or Report Profile. 3. Follow the on-screen instructions for impersonation to file a report. What to do if someone impersonates you on Facebook? Report any page or profile that you feel is impersonating you or someone else. Impersonation of a Facebook page, Facebook profile or Instagram account. 1. Select on the page you wish to report. 2. Select Find Support or Report page. 3. Select Scams and Fake pages. 4. Select the Pretending to be another person tab and click Send. How many reports does it take to close a Facebook account? There is no fixed number mentioned officially. It depends on the severity of the case and the authenticity of the report. Sometimes even one genuine report can make Facebook delete an account, and that too within 24 hours. What happens to a Facebook account when it is reported? When something gets reported to Facebook, we'll review it and remove anything that doesn't follow our community standards. Unless you're reporting an incident of intellectual property infringement, your report will be kept confidential and the account you reported won't see who reported them. Does Facebook have a law enforcement response team? We work with law enforcement to help people on Facebook stay safe. This sometimes means providing information to law enforcement officials that will help them respond to emergencies, including those that involve the immediate risk of harm, suicide prevention, and the recovery of missing children. How do I create a law enforcement page on Facebook? 1. Click the arrow to the right of the question mark icon to reveal a drop-down menu. Click Create Page. 2. Under Category, select Company, Organization or Institution. 3. Type the name of your police department in the company name field. 4. Click Get Started. How do I make a Facebook preservation request? Requests may be faxed to +1650-644-3229, sent via email to subpoena@facebook.com or mailed to Facebook, Inc. 1601 S California Avenue, Palo Alto, California, 94304 USA. Can the police delete your Facebook? Can police trace deactivated Facebook account? No, police cannot trace deactivated Facebook account. Can police hack into your social media? Police may be able to access this information without a warrant as well, so long as the viewing occurs through the use of a cooperating informant or other account that the suspect has friended, or otherwise allowed access. How do you tell if the cops are watching you? Spot common signs of surveillance. 1. Electrical fixture wall plates are slightly out of place. 2. Check your vinyl baseboard, where the floor and wall meet. 3. Look for discoloration on ceilings and walls. 4. A familiar item or sign in your home or office simply looks off. 5. You notice white debris close to a wall. What is a RIPA request? The Regulation of Investigatory Powers Act 2000, or RIPA, as it is commonly known, governs the use of covert surveillance by public bodies. This includes bugs, video surveillance and interceptions of private communications, e.g. phone calls and emails, and even undercover agents, covert human intelligence sources. Can the government hack your camera? The answer to all of these, with increasing frequency, is yes. It was Privacy International's case against GCHQ that led the government to avow in 2015 that they had hacking capabilities, including powers to conduct real-time surveillance, such as remotely switching on webcams. How can I find the IP address of a deactivated Facebook account? The answer to this question is not straightforward because Facebook doesn't store IP addresses. The only way to find the IP address of a deleted Facebook account is if it was previously stored in cookies on your browser. How do you find out who created a Facebook account? View the Admins section in the left pane, under the Information section. The Admins list displays a name followed by Creator, to indicate who created this group account. Why is enforcement of law so important? Law enforcement means the implementation of law. Government is responsible for enforcement. Enforcement is important when the law seeks to protect the people belonging to the weaker sections from those who are strong and powerful. Enforcement is important to ensure that every worker gets fair wages. What is law enforcement purposes? Law enforcement purposes means the prevention, investigation, detection or prosecution of criminal offenses or the execution of criminal penalties, including safeguarding against and the prevention of threats to public security. What is the significance of enforcement? Enforcement upholds the rule of law by demonstrating that the state, through the courts, will punish those who flout it. Enforcement identifies problems and weaknesses in the legislation, and can therefore form the basis on which to campaign for further reform. Who is responsible for enforcing the law? The executive branch of the United States government is responsible for enforcing laws, more specifically federal law enforcement and the President. See full answer below. What is the strength of law enforcement? Strengths, internal capacities. There is strong commitment by leadership within the police force to improve police response to domestic violence. A number of competent police officers have completed a training of trainers and are available to train new recruits. What is the main purpose of law enforcement? Community relations. Good police-community relations are imperative for developing trust between police and citizens. Without this trust, police work becomes much less effective. Even if the police officers are preventing crime, the people may not feel safe because there is no trust. What is the role of law enforcement in the criminal justice system? Law enforcement is the next element of the criminal justice response. Its purpose is to prevent, detect and investigate firearms offenses. What are the three major functions of police? The role and functions of the police shall broadly be to uphold and enforce the law impartially, and to protect life, liberty, property, human rights, and dignity of the members of the public. To promote and preserve public order. How are laws enforced in the U.S.? Law enforcement operates primarily through governmental police agencies. There are 17,985 police agencies in the United States, which include city police departments, county sheriff's offices, state police, highway patrol and federal law enforcement agencies. What is enforcement in your own words? Definition of law enforcement. The department of people who enforce laws, investigate crimes, and make arrests. The police. She works in law enforcement. What does enforcement action mean? Enforcement action means an action taken by the department upon its own initiative or at the request of an affected party in furtherance of its statutory authority and responsibility to execute and ensure compliance with applicable laws. What are enforcement actions? Enforcement action is when a problem has been discovered, usually by the FDA or some other federal agency, and an official report of the problem has been given to the study. What makes a good leader in law enforcement? A good law enforcement leader should be able to inspire others in their unit by helping them understand their vision and motivating them to see it to fruition. They must also be able to communicate effectively and express empathy with the officers on the force to develop deep bonds with their unit. What is the main role of police in the country? Police typically are responsible for maintaining public order and safety, enforcing the law, and preventing, detecting, and investigating criminal activities. These functions are known as policing. Police are often also entrusted with various licensing and regulatory activities. What are the three key fundamentals to a successful law enforcement? The principles of necessity, proportionality and precaution, introduced in key terms, are expanded upon below. What's the difference between law enforcement and police? Law enforcement is the activity of some members of government who act in an organized manner to enforce the law by discovering, deterring, rehabilitating, or punishing people who violate the rules and norms governing that society. The term encompasses police, courts, and corrections. What does enforcement mean in history? 1. To give force to, strengthen. 2. To urge with energy and force arguments. 3. Constrain, compel and force obedience. What happens if you ignore an enforcement notice? Such action may involve prosecution of the parties concerned in the local courts, depending upon the availability, nature and strength of evidence. Issuing an injunction through the High Court. Why good character is important, especially as a law enforcement officer? the ability to show compassion and empathy towards people you are dealing with as a law enforcement officer can come handy on the job. Officers who are willing to show that they care about building a rapport with the citizens inspire more confidence in the law enforcement agencies and encourage the public to cooperate. What do you know and expect to learn about law enforcement? You'll learn about the criminal mind, search and seizure, the laws of evidence, and more. What you'll study, a law enforcement degree online or in the classroom, will give you the knowledge and skills to excel on any police force. What do you need for law enforcement? Many law enforcement organizations may require or prefer applicants with a bachelor's degree, associate's degree, or a certain number of post-secondary education credits. Most applicants will need to be a U.S. citizen, have a valid driver's license, and be at least 18 or 21 years old, depending on department policy. Why is enforcement responsible for enforcement important in law enforcement? Law enforcement means the implementation of law. Government is responsible for enforcement. Enforcement is important when the law seeks to protect the people belonging to the weaker sections from those who are strong and powerful. Enforcement is important to ensure that every worker gets fair wages. What is the study of law enforcement? Police science is the study and research which deals with police work. Studies and research in criminology, forensic science, psychiatry, psychology, jurisprudence, community policing, criminal justice, correctional administration, and penology all come under this umbrella term, police science. What is the role of law enforcement in the criminal justice system? Law enforcement is the next element of the criminal justice response. Its purpose is to prevent, detect, and investigate firearms offenses. What are the best law enforcement? Federal marshals, police officers, parole officers, correctional officers, paralegals, court clerks, lawyers, attorneys. Getting started in law enforcement. Why are laws important for social justice? In such cases, it is crucial that laws are enforced. Through making, enforcing, and upholding these laws, the government can control the activities of individuals or private companies so as to ensure social justice. Many of these laws have their basis in the fundamental rights guaranteed by the Indian Constitution.